announcement. There is nothing wrong with your broadcast. Please allow us to redirect your audio. You are about to tune into the middle class dropouts. Enjoy. This is a public...
Welcome back, my little filthy dropouts.
Welcome, dropouts. Welcome.
Filthies.
So, Rigo?
How you doing, big dog?
I'm excellent, bro. How are you doing?
You are staring at the eyes of a freshly made American USA citizen. How do you feel about that?
Congratulations. Welcome to this fucked up country. I mean, it's not that bad, but
I know I know towards the end you're gonna gift me something, right? On that National Day, you got something you gotta gift me.
I have something for you.
So stay tuned, guys. Yeah, definitely. I feel it's exciting. Just became a U.S. citizen technically last Thursday. Yesterday I had my ceremony.
Nice.
It was a cool experience. Grateful, thankful. Beautiful country. I'd be wondering what I'll be doing right now in my national, or my, what would you call it, motherland, Mexico. Probably getting my head chopped off.
Or
right?
Joining the cartel. You could have been a big boss. Think about that.
Probably.
Knowing you with your ambitious drive, you would have been one of the head cartels.
Right? I would have been making commands over here. I wouldn't probably be selling you drugs right now, Vinny.
You would have been the policero.
The dude used to make pozole off of people's bones and meat. But definitely, bro, we're back in. We're gonna segue into. We'll start off with Bitcoin. We'll start with crypto. We'll start off with the prices of Cardano. Our big dog. Oh, that Charles Hopkinson video you sent me. I was watching that.
Crazy, huh?
And bro, I like him, bro.
I like him too.
I like how he's on top of it. He live streams and he talks about it.
Yeah, I to be honest, in my opinion, I feel like Charles Hopkinson, which is one of the, I believe the creator of Cardano. He was also one of the creators of Ethereum. It's just that they had a falling out. They weren't, the other two guys with Ethereum, they weren't, vibing, or they didn't get along. They all had different egos and whatnot. When I listen to Charles Hopkinson speak, he sounds very calm, very mellow, down to earth. And he has a real solid vision for Cardano, something that is making Cardano more decentralized. That vision of decentralized, where you don't want to have, he doesn't put his emotions attached, right? He doesn't attach his emotions to Cardano. He wants Cardano to become the next Bitcoin. I'm assuming, right?
Yeah.
I haven't spoken to the guy, so just seeing what he does makes me realize that, okay, maybe this guy is so open-minded that he's not afraid to allow Cardano to be Cardano, and him not pulling the strings. Of course, right now, Cardano's going through phases, and it just passed the phase of D=0, which, don't ask me. I'm not a mathematician to tell you what that really means, but it's another achievement that Cardano finished by this
in its technology.
So now it's on the next phase, which is Alonso. I don't know what that is either, but it's another exciting phase that I'm excited for, because definitely. every phase that Cardano completes, it's another step closer to decentralized currency, and I believe it's the next Bitcoin. Other people might not think that, but I do think that. So.
Yeah, and just to piggyback off of that, Vinny, I believe that what he's creating, he's allowing the scalability of Cardano to grow, right? He's not trying to run into the problems that Ethereum has right now with the high fees and not being able to. What they're doing right now is the Cardano. The Ethereum miners are starting to, want to set their own price for these gas fees.
Right.
So what happens is, if you have a crypto based on the ERC20 token, or it is an ERC20 token, and you want to go ahead and you hit 100 times gains and you want to pull out, those gas fees are just going to eat you up. Obviously if you make a shit ton of money, it's going to be a little bit, but say you make a $300 trade, you got to kiss $60 away like that, gone. So I think what Charles Hopkinson's doing with, I think what he sees himself with, bro, because you look at Cardano, right, and it's sitting at I saw it at 120 earlier. I don't know what it's sitting. I think it's 119. Yeah, it's 119. So you see him. He's that guy, bro, that he showed up late to the party, but he showed up with like the bomb-est grill. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Charles Hopkinson.
Yeah, because he's still, people would say like, oh, his thing's not even finished yet.
Right.
He doesn't mind, bro. He'll show up, but he's gonna show up with the bang.
And
I think that's how he sees himself.
And he bought a shitload of Bitcoin when Bitcoin was in the dollars,
Yeah.
in the single dollars. So he's been around. You
Yeah.
know, Charles Hawkinson isn't just the you know. Of course, he's. I don't want to say he's. I mean, I agree with what you're saying, but I also believe he's also looking at the free market in cryptocurrencies, right? Because you have your purists for sure. You have the people that are just all about Bitcoin, and there's a reason for it. You know, maybe it's because they got into Bitcoin really early, and they're making a shitload of money, and they see the ecosystem revolving Bitcoin.
Yeah.
There's a bunch of small companies that are getting big because they are providing people with Bitcoin. They're allowing them to transact in Bitcoin, save in Bitcoin, earn Bitcoin, which is awesome. And I get that. But I think Charles Hawkinson sees the free market and creating another Bitcoin, but better Bitcoin, a much more secure Bitcoin, like how you were explaining. Non-volatile, very stable. Of course, it might have some volatility. It's the free market.
Yeah.
You never know when a big whale will come in and sell thousands of Bitcoin Cardanos and will just tank it. But because there's more Cardanos than there are Bitcoins, it's going to be less volatile, in my opinion. But of course, I mean, that's just what you get in the free market. So I do like that he has that approach, an open mind, and he's not a purist to just Bitcoin, you know, because he could have been, but then he wouldn't have created Ethereum nor Cardano. And I feel like Cardano is his version of a much better Ethereum. And then I think at the end of Cardano, it will be a much better Bitcoin.
Yeah, and I agree with that, bro. And to think about that, the way I see him too is when Ethereum was created, I think it was 6 or 7 or 8 creators. I'm not too sure on it, but and then he learned, and because he's a super smart cat, right? So he learned what he needed to do with the blockchain. He sees what Ethereum is lacking on, and all his things now are like, I'm gonna attack whatever they're lacking in. I'm gonna go ahead and create Cardano and do these updates and these versions to attack Ethereum's weaknesses, you know. So that's why I have respect for him. So I like it, bro. I like Cardano. I've always I wish I would have got in when it barely came out. I think the first bull run, when you reached out to me about Cardano, it was
when I reached out to you
about not about Cardano, about Litecoin.
Oh, Litecoin.
Back in 2017. Yeah. Can you see what the price? I want to say it was.
You want to see Litecoin?
No, Cardano Max, back in 20. Yeah, see, it wasn't like it was cheap then either. It had just came on the scene. It must have hit the markets, bro, and it shot up.
About 2 cents.
Yeah,
at the cheapest, and then it shot up to $1 and some change.
And that's when the bull market was. So if somebody's saying Cardano, and you're looking at it, and it's already $1, I think it turned off a lot of people. But they didn't realize this thing was already well funded, bro. This thing was already like a machine that was going. Yeah, it wasn't technically finished, but you look at it now and where it could be, bro. You know what I'm saying? I think 3-4 years from now, you're looking at like 100, 200 per coin, ADA coin, bro. That's what I believe.
Gosh. How much?
100 or 200 in 2 to 3 years, or 3 to 4 years.
Okay.
You're gonna see a lot of. Look at Ethereum. Ethereum was the same way, bro. Correct. Ethereum used to be pennies, you know.
Correct.
And then Ethereum became the biggest player of cryptos being created on that network. Now here comes Cardano that does that and better. Now you're gonna get all these new shifts of coins coming in that are gonna be created on the Cardano network, or a lot of these coins are gonna shift into that Cardano network. So I'm pretty excited for it. I like Cardano. I think it's definitely a buying opportunity. It's gonna be a buying opportunity. Anything under $10, you know. I mean, stack up on your Cardano.
That's right. I mean, I agree with you 100%. I do believe Cardano right now, it's at a beautiful buying opportunity. See, I will call this phase still the accumulation phase, only because Cardano has so much potential. And you might think that, well, how is it a accumulation phase, or how is it not? You know, because to me, right now, a lot of people are buying and holding. You know, they're not really selling. You know, it would have tanked if people were not convinced that Cardano was set out to be what it's going to be. And because the CEO is so transparent and he's out almost every day on YouTube with a live feed speaking about the progress of Cardano or interviewing people working with Cardano, or just people he finds interesting, or just giving little 2-3 minute updates, I do believe, you know, Cardano will be the next Bitcoin. Like I'm saying, I see it. It's so hard not to see it, you know. It's like how people saw Bitcoin. When you see it, you can't unsee it.
Yeah.
Same thing with Cardano. You see it and you can't unsee it. And just like I said, every stage that Cardano completes, it's another step forward to decentralize. And I mean, for those of you who are saying, oh, well, where can I put all my money and be rich in the future? I'm not a financial advisor.
Definitely, we're not financial advisors.
But look at this fucking coin. Just look at it. Just check it out. See what you like. See if you find it interesting. If you find it interesting, do more research. Listen to other people that are smarter than, maybe smarter than us, right? That talk about these stuff, and take your own, you know, your pros and cons, and then make your conclusion. And then invest or don't invest. In my opinion, it's the next Bitcoin.
Yeah, and look at its market cap, bro. Its market cap's at $38 billion, right?
Yeah.
And you shift over to Ethereum, I think their market cap's like around 250 billion.
Or
Pour
Ethereum?
another 100 billion into Cardano and tell me where that price would be. You know what I'm saying? Like
100%.
this thing's here to stay, bro. This thing's here to 223.
Yeah, 223 billion Ethereum's market cap. And then Cardano, number 5 on CoinGecko, is 38 bill. And if you look at volume wise, I mean, it's almost, you know, for sure it's a tenth of where it's at, but it's going to get there pretty quick. I mean, and it's going to be to the upside. I mean, I'm glad Ethereum went up. I own Ethereum.
Yeah.
So I'm glad it went up in price.
Hit that all-time high real quick.
Yeah, and I think it's going to probably hit the same all-time high like it did this past year. Well, this year to date. But in my opinion, Ethereum might have already peaked. If it doesn't hit this high, if Ethereum doesn't blow through 2Gs or higher than 2K, you know, I think it's going to drop a little bit, or it's going to stay around that price, because Cardano is coming to put its footprint, you know. Now,
and if Ethereum doesn't come through with their ETH 2.0,
didn't it come out already?
Yeah, but I think it's still like in the works, and that's what I'm saying. There's still those problems with those gas fees, and that's what that was supposed to fix.
Right.
And they're still there, you know.
Oof.
So if Cardano comes in and fucking swings the door open, I mean, watch out, bro. I think Cardano's here to stay. Definitely here to stay, but I think it's gonna be one of the top 2 players. I know a lot of people like throwing Polkadot around. Polkadot's cool, but I don't think it matches up with Cardano and what it's trying to do. So
and I don't, you know, to me the price isn't, to me it's a secondary. Of course, for most people, price is like everything. Oh, I want to be rich. I want Cardano to be like Polkadot, or Cardano to be another Ethereum. We want to be that crowd too, but we don't at the same time, because when you see a technology like Cardano and you start realizing what it could become in the future, price is only second to what it's going to do for you. You know, it's like Bitcoin. People aren't going to sell their Bitcoin to go buy groceries. I mean, maybe at first, but they see it for the bigger picture, and so they're holding their Bitcoin. Same with Cardano. I mean, yeah, if you want to sell it to, you know, buy a house or whatever, go for it. But if you hold long term and you see where its full potential lies, oh my God, it is beautiful. Yeah. But that's just my opinion. So you're entitled to yours, motherfucker. Yeah,
exactly. And then we'll segue into Bitcoin. Bitcoin is sitting around 59,000. It's sitting around 59,000. It's looking like it's gonna want to break its 60. Would it hit 60,000 flat?
Okay, let's go back real quick. Let's go back 90 days real quick.
Yeah, just go back 90. Should have been around there. Or 60,000. Okay.
61.
Almost. Oh, 61.3. Okay, so it's looking like it's gonna want to break because it consolidated for about a week. I think it's gonna want to break past that point. You might see it hit 65, 70,000, and then you're gonna see it drop again below 60. Same as it does. Don't get scared. You know, I think when it does drop, you see a lot of money get influx into altcoins, and that's when you see these altcoins start surging. Because what you guys got to realize too, Bitcoin isn't. If you believe in Bitcoin, you don't want to believe in altcoins, correct? And then if you believe in altcoins, you don't believe Bitcoins. I'm not a fan of that. I'm a fan of, hey, I'm gonna own a little bit of something, and hopefully one of them hits, and then for the future technology, right? But a lot of people believe if Bitcoin's going up, the altcoins are gonna stagger, right? And vice versa, altcoins are going up than Bitcoin. But I think this bull market's a little bit different, because a lot of institutions are buying into Bitcoin and have bought into Bitcoin and continue to buy into Bitcoin. So that's gonna make the price a little less volatile, yeah, it's shifting $5,000 to $10,000 every little what do you call it, Vin, when it hits a resistance level and then it corrects itself.
Yeah, corrections.
So you're looking at $5,000 to $10,000 in corrections, but it's healthy, right? You don't want it to just go from 20,000 to 70,000 and then right back down to 20,000. I mean, that's what you call a bubble.
Yes, and to me, in my opinion, the reason why we're seeing a good jump right now in all these cryptocurrencies is because PayPal just announced PayPal accepting Bitcoin, Ether, Bitcoin Cash, and Litecoin cryptocurrencies. And in my opinion, this is huge. This is a big fucking step for cryptocurrencies in general. I'm trying to look for what I read. Where you at? You asshole. Okay, okay, here we go. No, this is what. Okay, yeah. Wait. Okay, so users will then be able to choose the cryptocurrencies they want to pay with. For now, the service will only be available for 4 cryptocurrencies: Bitcoin, Ether, Bitcoin Cash, and Litecoin. So this is huge. Users will then be able to choose the cryptocurrencies they want to pay with. Again, I mean, if it's not in your face that cryptos are here to stay and you're still skeptical about Bitcoin or cryptocurrencies in general, I mean, PayPal.
How many users does PayPal have, bro? I mean, I know they have
millions, bro.
Hundreds of millions, right?
Millions.
So you're looking at this exposure to hundreds and millions of customers that use PayPal. I mean, come on, bro. You're gonna see a lot of people start getting introduced to Bitcoin, and I like it, bro, because it's starting to normalize cryptocurrencies, right? Like I said, I think a lot of people are skeptical about cryptocurrencies. I know back in the day it was because they used to pay Bitcoin to Silk Road. Remember Silk Road from the dark web? And I mean, but that's with anything, bro. I mean, people use money to buy drugs, dollars, and they use dollars to buy fucking drugs and do ratchet shit. So, of course, I mean, people found their way to use Bitcoin. Back then, there wasn't really much anything you could spend your Bitcoin on, right? It wasn't like you can go and do like this now, pay somebody. No, it was mostly they were used in low-profile transactions that didn't want to get traced, and that's why Silk Road was there. So I know Bitcoin got a lot of negative attention back in the day, but I like
that's with everything. I mean, anything that, in my opinion, challenges the existing narrative, like the U.S. dollar, it's going to be hated. It's not going to be loved, and they're going to try to belittle it. But at the same time, the people belittling it are the same people accumulating it and waiting for the price to jump, because that's just how the cookie crumbles, In my opinion, you have to see through that. You can't be gullible and say, oh, my gosh, well, they're the Congress said that they hate Bitcoin, but then you have these other Congress people or senators that say, oh no, Bitcoin's here to stay. Cryptocurrencies are going to be used in our country. For an example, the governor of Florida, Governor DeSantis,
he loves crypto.
He loves cryptocurrencies. He says that he wants to pay his employees. Well, he wants his employees to get paid in Bitcoin. It's huge. Yeah. And this is a governor of Florida. I believe it's the governor of Florida.
I think it is. It is the governor.
Yeah, it's interesting to me. It's interesting how our own society is now realizing that, okay, the U.S. dollar is falling, and in my opinion, if you don't believe the U.S. dollar is falling and you want to have some validation of why it would fall, don't look further. Just look at the U.S. national debt.
Look at that bad boy right there.
If you look at the U.S. national debt. U.S. national, we're at 28 trillion with a T. We're diluting our U.S. dollars, and this is money that we owe. This is U.S. federal spending, $6.7 trillion. Now, you might say, well, I need more concrete evidence. Where can I see more? Oh, don't look further. Go to the M2 money supply from the St. Louis Federal Reserve, and they've stopped printing how much money is out in circulation since February 1st. Since February 1st, they stopped counting how much money they're printing. It's passed. So it was at 19 trillion.
Ladies and gentlemen. It's breaking the charts.
Breaking the charts. So they stopped, and if you look at the U.S. national debt, well, here it is. It went past. So it's at 28 trillion, and I mean, if you want, more evidence than that, then go fuck yourself, because I'm telling you straight up, the U.S. dollar long term will not be the ruler anymore. Now they're trying to make it the ruler. Why? Because it's the old guard. The old guard, they like the way things are. They don't want change, and nobody likes change. To be honest, most people don't like change because they are insecure. They're afraid to look bad in front of others, and so the people who are pulling the strings in the United States don't want to look back to the world. But we already look bad. I mean, in reality, I love our country. I'm glad you became a citizen of the United States. I mean, Rigo, you have no idea how much blessings you have now that you're a citizen. But that's not to say that the people running our country aren't putting you in a bad place, because again, if you look back at the debt clock, debt per citizen is 85 trillion. So Rigo, congratulations. This is your gift, 85 trillions of
well, technically it's 224 because I am a taxpayer.
Oh, you are a taxpayer. That's right. So Rigo,
225,000. Thank you guys. Appreciate the gift.
Sorry, Rigo.
I don't have to pay back.
Congratulations. But
That's
anyways,
wild.
So yes, this is our evidence to why cryptocurrencies are here to stay, and why you should have an open mind into looking into these technologies, cryptocurrencies that have a good technology behind it, and invest whatever you think you can afford. We're not financial advisors. I don't recommend you look at your savings and say, okay, I want to put my son's debt and my wife's boyfriend's debt into into these cryptos. Look into what you can afford and then put that into the cryptos that you would choose. But also you could look at gold. I love fucking gold, and I love silver. I like to have a diversified portfolio, and the price of gold went up today, $28. Silver went up 35 cents. Now, of course, they've took a massive hit. Gold at one point was at 2,000 and something per ounce. Now it tanked down to 17. This to me is a buying opportunity. Anytime we have a sell-off in gold and silver, to me it's just a buying opportunity. It's not something that I'm going to be like, oh, I'm not gonna buy it because it's falling and fuck gold, fuck silver. I'd rather just be in crypto. So, I mean, you could think like that. I don't recommend you think like that. I mean, to me, this is a buying opportunity. You know, of course, you don't have to buy it. Fuck, you could just be like, all right, I'm 100% cryptos. That's cool, but I want to survive, and I want to figure out.
You want to bank in different options.
Well, I want to be my own central bank, to be honest. That's what it comes down to. I want to be my own central bank and be able to finance whatever I want to finance with whatever hard assets I own in my portfolio. So, I mean, I think it's a buying opportunity because it fell.
I got a question for you, Vinny. Some would say, why is it that you know how they say, okay, what's the negative behind crypto? Some would say, and I'm only saying this because I've heard it, why is the U.S. government allowing cryptos to be legal if they could potentially be a threat to the dollar? Do you think that the government sees cryptos as a threat?
It's a great question. Okay. Do I think... I mean, in my opinion, they do, but that's another form of them diluting or expanding the U.S. dollar, right? Because now they call this a shadow bank, right? The shadow bank and what's going on outside of the reach of the United States dollar hegemony. In my opinion, it's just another form for them to funnel more dollars and have more reach. So they kind of encourage it, because anything that's priced in U.S. dollars only benefits these bankers. Yeah. Now, we have an issue today where the U.S. dollar is strengthening. You would think that because of all these new assets that the dollar would start falling in value, because now they need to print more money to subsidize for what they're giving out, the bitcoins, gold, silver, and it's not. So it's interesting why that's not happening, but I don't think they're afraid of currencies, to be honest. Cryptocurrencies,
right? Because if you look at it, I mean, cryptos in itself has a market cap of $1 trillion. It passed. Sorry about that. I don't know. It's for sure over $1 trillion. Obviously, that's not all U.S. money. That includes Asia, Germany, includes Russia, includes the whole. I think if you go back to the main, it should be up there. Total volume or market cap is 1.9 trillion.
Oh yes.
So you're almost at 2 trillion, right? Market cap of all the cryptos all throughout the world.
Yes.
If you are the U.S. government or a government, wouldn't that in a sense strike fear to you? Like, holy fuck, our dollars are being shifted into a cryptocurrency that a lot of people are holding. They're not switching back to dollar, right? Or switching to whatever currency that country's in. If I was them, I mean, that would be an eye opener to me, right? Because this isn't like you're talking a 100 million market cap or a 500. No, you're talking about $2 trillion that are in crypto. I mean, that could put a dent. I mean, what's the gold market cap? 13 trillion.
Something.
I mean,
yeah.
so you're looking at it could put a dent into something, right? So that's what trips me out, like how they're not. And I'm glad they don't, but how are they not, or are they planning something behind? Are they planning to create a digidollar? Like I said, something about this is fishy. Like,
well, in my opinion, I see how it's a shoe-in for a U.S. Federal Reserve cryptocurrency, right? Or more, not even U.S., but just a Federal Reserve cryptocurrency, because Federal Reserve is a private central bank, and they don't, they're not a government body. Although those who are and like Jerome Powell, who's the chairman of the Federal Reserve, I think his email ends at .gov. So he's probably an employee maybe of the government, but in reality, the bank as a whole is a private bank. So, which is controversial. In my opinion, it's a shoe-in for them to have people have the eye-opening of cryptocurrencies. Like, okay, now people are aware of all these cryptos and what they offer. Now they're going to come with their own version of crypto, but it's not going to be decentralized. Don't be confused. It will not be decentralized.
Exactly.
And this is why I also find it fishy that the talking heads on CNBC, Fox, and all these other mainstream sources love Bitcoin. Why would they love Bitcoin, right? Like, you would think that they would go against it, but I think it's because there's a bigger agenda in place, which in my opinion, I mean, if you can't fight them, fucking be with them, join them. But you could still have your own sovereign identity. You don't have to be a part of the fakeness of other cryptocurrencies like the Federal Reserve coin. Facebook tried to come out with Libra, and Libra was just a basket of fiat currencies into one digital currency. It wasn't even a cryptocurrency. So it was just another Fugazi.
It's going to be totally centralized because they would have known what you're doing with those coins, where you're sending them, what money you're putting in, what money you're taking out. And some may say, oh, well, the digi dollar, whatever, from if the feds ever do come up with it, oh, that would be good. Or some would say, how would they even get away with it? I mean, they're getting away with it now. Look at the dollar. It says it's not legal tender, and it's backed by the Federal Reserve's the one that prints it. So to me, it's like if they come out with the digidollar, it would be the same thing. You know what I'm saying? Like, they would get away with it the same way, and people would eat it up. And there would be no if, buts, or ors. They would just be like, here, you guys are having a craze about cryptocurrency, Bitcoin, or try this one out. You know what I'm saying? This is the official United States cryptocurrency. And then people wouldn't understand that technology. Like, wait, what does it mean to be centralized and not centralized? And people would they would eat it up. And that's what I think is going to happen, bro.
And what is your thoughts on the confiscation of Bitcoin? Like how they confiscated gold back in the 30s. Do you believe that they will try to outlaw Bitcoin when the Fed, comes out with their own currency? Because China's coming out with their own crypto, and it's rolling out. Yeah. So, in my opinion, that's kind of iffy too. So, how about the U.S. government finally stepping down on those who own cryptos? Like, do you think that'll happen? It's, again, if you look at the IRS, Bitcoin is classified as property. So gold is also classified as property.
Yeah, that can be confiscated, right, in a sense.
And, yeah.
So, yeah, that's scary, bro. Maybe that's why they're not really tripping about it, because they did classify it as property. So if one day comes and they do realize that, hey, well, I don't even know how that would happen if maybe one day they realize that the dollar isn't being, like, it would be like the dollar purchasing power. Say that drastically drops and all you're seeing is Bitcoin transactions and altcoin transactions, then maybe they'll be like, holy fuck, we're losing the power. The weight is tilting now. Maybe I could see something like that happening where they come out and say, hey, if you use Bitcoin is illegal and we're gonna track it down. And I think that's what's scary, bro. And I think that's what a lot of people a lot of people call them nerds, but the true believers from Bitcoin since day one, they understood the fact and the power of Bitcoin. They understood that it's uncontrollable, right? Nobody can create more Bitcoin. It's either you have it or you don't, and that's the power that it had, that it holds, right? And what about that power to the feds, bro? Wouldn't the feds want some of that power? You know what I'm saying? Wouldn't, and how would they then combat that? Getting more Bitcoin than anybody else, correct?
Yes.
So you confiscate it, you get yourself a good enough supply, then you can manage that.
And I think, in my opinion, how they'll do that is with a strong U.S. dollar. So they would want to have a strong purchasing power, and then see the weakness in Bitcoin and then purchase it as much as they can, which I think they already purchased. In my opinion, like I said, there was accumulation phase where Bitcoin was at 3,000 for a minute, and then it started going up a little bit. But that's because the bigger people in charge, well, the bigger banks, I should say, were accumulating it at the 3,000 mark, and then allowed it to ride up where the public is now in. So now we have the public phase, which then it creates like a bubble territory because now everybody's in. So now, depending on how things roll, they could either tank Bitcoin or just let it get hyperinflated and, you know, come out with their own currency. Yeah. But, I mean, I feel like the U.S. dollar strengthening now is another form of rivaling against other hard assets. But I don't know, man. I think investors and private institutions are starting to sniff that out. They don't believe the strength in the U.S. dollar. So if you look at the U.S. dollar, it's actually strengthened the past month, and so it's not, it's not terribly high from where it was just 6 months ago, because it kind of like just went a throw over from right here. So this was November 2020. The U.S. dollar was at 94, and it just, it tanked down to a low of, I don't want to say like 89, and now we're back at 93. And so we have also the domestic, right? Our domestic economy is in debt like you have never seen it before. And I think that's also the reason why the U.S. dollar is strengthening, because most people that are getting their stimulus or, their payroll and employment, they're paying back their debt. So that strengthens the currency as well. And other countries, other central banks want U.S. dollars to service their own debt. And there's this tug and pull game going on with the dollar. And I see what's happening now, where the dollar's going. If they don't allow, if the Treasury does not allow the IMF to get their $1 trillion in SDRs, we could see a strength in the U.S. dollar like we've never seen before. Probably another market crash, probably. But who knows? I mean, Joe Biden just passed his historic infrastructure bill of $2.2 trillion. Now, will that hit the dollar? I think so. I think the dollar's going lower. But you have to look at the other side of what if it strengthened and how will it strengthen? And I think it will strengthen because we're in so much debt as U.S. citizens, and we're not giving money to other foreign countries. So that would just strengthen the U.S. dollar, I think. I'm not a smart guy to understand that fully, but here's a clip of Senator John Kennedy pretty much going after Janet Yellen, who's the Secretary of Treasury. Again, if you don't know who Janet Yellen is, she was the Vice President and President of the Federal Reserve, and then now she's the the U.S. Treasury Secretary. So here's a little clip I would like to show you guys if you guys want to listen in. I'm going to fast forward it just a little bit to where, because he's just speaking to Jerome Powell, who's now the chairman of the Federal Reserve. So now he's going to speak to the predecessor. He's now going to speak to Janet Yellen. So,
ask Secretary Yellen a question. Secretary Yellen, the Biden administration's plan, and it is your plan, to require the IMF to issue $1 trillion of these SDRs, new SDRs, is going.
So SDRs are another form of currency that central banks use to give each other credit. So, for an example, Regal has a bank, and I'm the U.S. Federal Reserve, and so I'm the U.S. Treasury, so I give Regal my SDRs, and he could either redeem his SDRs or sell his SDRs for U.S. Treasuries, which would be U.S. dollars at the end of the day. And so it's just another form of counterfeiting money to other countries. But check this out.
Like IOUs, basically.
Like similar.
To cost the American taxpayer about $180 billion. Now, your reason for doing that is a good reason. You say you want to help poor countries. But you and I both know that only about 10% of that money is going to go to poor countries. It's not going to help poor countries. It's going to help if they cash in their SDRs. It's going to help China. It's going to help Russia. It's going to help Venezuela. And besides that, under your plan, you're intentionally splitting the plan into two tranches of $500 billion each to avoid having to come before Congress. And I don't understand why it is efficient to charge the American taxpayer $180 billion, all of which we have to borrow, and you say you're doing it to help poor countries.
Now remember, the U.S. national debt clock was at $28 trillion. So we owe money and
ticking.
And so it's fascinating. Check this out.
Only 10% is going to poor countries, and even more is going to Russia and to China.
I'm sorry, it's not going to cost the taxpayer $180 billion.
Sure it is. You're going to have to borrow the money. You don't have the money sitting in a checking account.
IMF.
They're going to redeem those SDRs, not just the poor countries, but China.
There are many countries that can provide hard currencies in return for SDRs, including the United States. If the United States does agree to provide SDRs, it will have to issue treasury bills or debt to do it, but it will.
So when she says treasury bills, that's taxpayer money. Debt, that's the Federal Reserve. We need to borrow debt, meaning we need to print more money from the Federal Reserve or directly from the U.S. Treasury. So it's essentially counterfeiting money.
Rest my case.
I'm sorry, but it will also earn interest on any amounts that it converts on behalf of other countries.
So it's going to earn interest. So, hey, Regal, let's do some money laundering business, but let's earn some interest, yeah? It's fucking...
And that'll make it right? That will make it okay.
And that'll make it perfectly fine. I mean, I'm going to steal from you, and then I'm going to launder it, and we're going to get interest on that money. Yeah. It's essentially a wash.
Yeah, come on, man.
And it will be essentially a wash.
But the money will never be paid back.
And it will pay... There is no money to be paid back. Sure. It doesn't matter. The interest that we earn on any excess SDR holdings offsets the cost of issuing treasuries. And it's essentially a wash. And it is not costly.
I disagree with you, Madam Secretary. I think I'm no disrespect, but I think you're wrong. I think we're going to have to borrow all $180 billion of this.
I don't know where you got a number like that from.
Well, when China comes to redeem its SDRs and says we want dollars, where do you think we're going to get the money? We're going to borrow it.
He ain't wrong.
He's not wrong.
He ain't wrong, I'll tell you that.
And let me just tell you guys something. This is another validation, in my opinion, on why the U.S. dollar will crumble, because we're such in a shithole that you have no idea. And if you're holding U.S. dollars thinking that, oh, well, I'm going to hold this for savings and then buy myself a car or a house, look, it's not that simple anymore. It used to be that simple, but now we've got into a twilight zone in where you think because you're a U.S. citizen
Emphasize it.
that you're safe.
Yeah.
But we're the dirtiest shirt in the basket. All these other fiat currencies that are out there, like the Mexican peso, the Chinese yen, renminbi, the Japanese yen, they're all fucking bad. They're all those currencies are bad. We're just not as bad, but we're gonna get really bad really fast. And I don't know what else to tell you guys. I mean,
and that all stems from the governments, right? Their own governments are dooming their own people, bro.
yeah,
Right?
it's a race to the bottom.
Exactly. It's not like they have the best interest. I think I think the way the government sees is, hey, let's get rich, let our families get rich, let our business owner friends get rich, fuck the rest, right? I think that's essentially what they're.
It's a Cantillon effect. Sorry, Rigo. It's a
Yeah,
Cantillon
no
effect.
worries. That's what it is, and I think that's what it comes down to. So, and you're right. When a lot of people get scared of crypto and gold, and a lot of people are hesitant towards that. But that's probably the best hedge against the dollar that you have.
Yes.
So those $50,000 that you might have in the bank in 3 years are gonna be worth less.
Yes.
So, segue into something that's gonna benefit you and it's gonna actually grow your wealth, and that's gonna prevent you from going down. It's
Yes.
flashing again, huh?
No, it's fine.
Oh.
It's fine. Yeah,
But
no,
yeah,
you're
definitely.
right. You have to figure out how to survive in these times. And if you have debt, you're only more screwed,
Yeah.
to be honest. If you have debt, like you have houses in your portfolio and you're going to flip homes and pool the equity, that's a good debt to have because you have a good mindset on how to use that debt. But if you have student loan debt, credit card debt,
Yeah.
you have a new car and you have that as debt, you're fucked. You're
To
fucked.
say the least.
Yeah, to say the least. And I mean, you can still get out of it. You can educate yourself, be a little bit more financial literate in what's going on, and kind of see between the lines and prosper if you make the right investments. Or you could just be holding the bag, and that bag turns out to be shit at the end of the day.
Yeah.
The bag of dollars, 100 bills. Believe it or not, those $100 bills, you will be able to wipe your ass with them. Not because you're rich, but because they're worthless. I mean, go to Venezuela, go to countries like Zimbabwe, where they're printing a fuck ton of the currency. Venezuela just came out with $1 million bolivar. Now, of course, Venezuela has a fucking basket of troubles caused by the U.S., I believe, with our sanctions. If we just leave Venezuela the fuck alone and stop trying to steal their oil because they have the biggest deposits of oil, bigger than Saudi Arabia, we want to put all these sanctions. But just regardless, put that aside, all else equal, their fucking currencies are shit. And I think that's where we're headed in the not too distant future, only because other countries are seeing how dirty we're treating our not only our U.S. citizens, but how we're treating the world. I mean, Joe Biden, and not to knock on Joe Biden, but not even within his first 100 days, he started bombing Syria.
Yeah.
That's fucked up. Like, what are you doing, bro? You're not supposed to, in your first 100 days, bomb fucking Syria. At least Trump waited 100 days after. At least he was a gentleman about it. At least he walked the girl to the car, opened the door, allowed her to walk in, and he closed the door behind her. He didn't just took her to eat and then fucked her on the table.
Yeah.
He took her to eat, kind of have her, feel good, take her back to her house, and then got her cozy and then fucked her. Joe Biden went raw dog. He just said, hey, we're not going to go eat. We're in my car ready. I don't have lube.
Drop your pants.
Drop your pants. Spread your cheeks.
Nah, bro. That definitely. I think that's. Yeah, but you make a point there, bro. And I think a lot of people miss the fact on real intentions on why we invade countries. I know that the word help them gets thrown around a lot. And there's a lot of back end stories I believe that aren't clear, but yeah, that would be a different topic for another day.
Well, I mean, we could talk about it right now. Fuck. We are fucking bullies. Look, I'm not gonna shy away from it. I have family members in the military, and we talk about what's going on and shit that's happening.
How's that conversation go, bro? Do they get offended?
They're open mind. I have an uncle that did 2 tours in the Middle East, and he has an open mind about things. He's doing what he thinks is right.
Yeah.
And if I was in his shoes, I think I'd be doing the same thing.
Yeah.
Doing what I think is right. But because I'm not in his shoes and I have a outside perspective and I'm not indoctrinated into what, you get indoctrinated to, I have a, 3D perspective of what's going on. It's not the perfect perspective. I'm not saying what I see is right, but I do understand that we're not doing the right things. And when I see Joe Biden bomb Syria, it's not pretty. And today he's trying to pass his $2.2 trillion infrastructure bill, which you might think, oh, that's a beautiful thing. We need infrastructure. Oh, my God. Yeah, but when it comes from the government, what they want to do is tax the fuck out of you and then build it. Mm-hmm. But just because they're taxing you doesn't mean you benefit. No. That's not how it works. If you're a union worker, yeah, you're going to benefit.
Yeah,
but
that's busy.
Yeah, you'll be busy, you'll be working. But if you're the average Joe who's not a union worker, who is not in the medical field, and you're trying to just live your life comfortable and not be fucked with and not be super taxed, you're going to be super taxed. And you're not going to live comfortable. And you're going to be fucked by the government. And that's not nice. And again, other countries see what's going on. They see what's going on here. They see what's going on out there. And they don't want to be a part of the U.S. Government anymore. I mean, it's just what I see happening. I do. I want to be part of the U.S. forever. I just don't like what the leadership in our country, I don't like where they're taking us.
But that's what's beautiful about this country, true, right? I mean, true, right? The freedom of speech, right? We have the freedom to say what's on our mind.
Yeah, it's an opinion.
We're not imposing our views on anybody. We're just we're having an open conversation, and we're giving our side of the story and what we believe, and we're not conspiring to anything. No, it's just this is what we believe, and this is what we see, and you've done the research. I've done my little bit of research, and that's where I get these ideas from. It's not like I woke up one day like, oh no, I've done some research, and I've seen, like you said, we are bullies. It's like we don't go into these places to help being. Oh no, we'll go in there. We see that the door open because of help, and then once we're in there, we'll kick it down and we'll grab what we need and set a little base there, and now we run that. You know what I'm saying? I think that's what a lot of people. And like you said, if you're in the military, you're gonna think that's the right thing to do because it's a war, and then you want to protect your family back home.
And that's what you signed up for.
Exactly.
I mean, you signed up to be you sign up for something that you believe it's right. And I don't want to say bad things about why you signed up, because I don't believe if it comes from bad intentions at all. I wanted to sign up. I don't regret that I didn't sign up. But I still respect the fuck out of the military.
No, and I do too, bro.
Respect. I mean, I love listening to Navy SEALs, like like Jocko Willick's podcast, or the what's the other one called? It's called Vigilance Elite podcast. It's Navy SEAL, another Navy SEAL guy, and they have a bunch of other people on their podcast that are Navy SEALs or ex-military guys, and gals, and it's amazing their stories and what they've gone through, and just the mindset that you have to be in to be under that stress. And it's amazing. I mean, most people will look the other way and be like, nah, it's too hard. I kind of like that. I love hard work, and it's not easy. I mean, I'm saying it right now that I love it. Yeah. But most people will shy away from it. They'll be like, I don't want to get myself dirty. I love being uncomfortable because that's when I feel comfortable. Yeah. I love being uncomfortable. I'm comfortable when I'm uncomfortable. And that's how my mindset is, and that's how I operate. And I put myself in uncomfortable positions when I, either work out or when I'm at work or whatever, not on purpose, but because I want to see how I react, and that's not to say I'm self-sabotaging. I'm not. I want to know how, where my mindset will be under a stressful situation. And I think I've somewhat mastered it. I haven't been in gunfire, and I hope to God, knock on wood, that I never get into a gunfire, but that is a fucking stressful situation to be in. And you need to have a hard mind to think clearly through that and guide your men and women and come out the other side alive. So this is why I respect more military people.
No, and I agree with you.
And sorry, but I feel sad for those who passed, and fought for our freedom. I do feel real bad for that, real sad. And so I just want to say that.
And that's what I was gonna segue into, Vin. That I think what gets me mad is the situations that the United States government puts these soldiers in. Sometimes, you know, it's not for the benefit of the country. Sometimes, you know.
Yeah, like Iraq. We invaded Iraq. I mean, like, I'm sorry, Rigo, but you're right.
No worries.
Jocko Willink, he had one of the battles in Ramadi, and he talks about that in one of his books, and Extreme Ownership, and it's amazing what he went through and how he came out of it. But it's also an eye opener when you see it from the outside perspective. When you see how we got manipulated into going into Iraq to begin with.
Yeah.
And so I think we were only supposed to be in Afghanistan, and we ended up destroying Iraq. And I don't agree with that. But again, I do respect our U.S. military people, because it's not their fault.
No,
they're just doing their job,
serving.
and it is what it is, you know.
Yeah.
I'm sorry for those Iraqis who died, and I think it was over 1 million that lost their lives, women and children and men. So, you know, it's heartbreaking. But again, it's not the working class that's doing this. It's the leadership pulling these strings so they could profit off of us. They're sending poor people to kill other poor people. They're sending brown people to kill other brown people. And a lot of these other brown people that go out to the Middle East come back with those same people from the Middle East. It's amazing how we can relate to other cultures around the world, and they just want to live their life peacefully, just have a house, have their children healthy, be in a healthy relationship, have their children educated. That's what we want, you know. And we're doing the wrong things, in my opinion. And you know, and that's just how I see it too.
Yeah. And you know, when in our viewpoint, some people might not agree with it. Like I said, we're not bashing any branch of the middle. Like I said, we respect them. Respect them. I don't respect the people making the calls. That's what I don't agree with.
Yeah, some of these calls are like, whoa. I mean, I get ISIS, I get the Taliban.
Yeah,
I do understand. I'm not gonna be naive to it. I understand that they're horrible people and they're doing the wrong thing. But we've been in the fucking Middle East for over 20 years. You know, we've been in Iraq for like 30 years. Yeah. So we've been there for some time. Let another country take the load, you know? And I'm sure they're going to fix it up, because that's in their backyard.
Yeah.
You know, the Middle East isn't in our backyard. Nobody, China and Russia aren't coming to Mexico to blow up Mexico, you know, because they want to get to us. We're going into the Middle East to destabilize the Middle East so we could go to China or to all these other countries. We're doing that in Africa, destabilizing Africa. We did it to Libya specifically with Gaddafi, and then that destroyed all of that region and had the migration crisis move up to the Europeans, to Europe, which creates another problem,
because then they're going to be like, wait, what the hell? Where you guys coming over? And
exactly.
You know, and at the end of the day, people are just seeking refuge.
Yes, because of our fuck ups.
Yeah. So and then look at who is at our border, bro. I mean,
now, sorry.
You know, no, but I was just gonna say the cartels, bro. I mean, they're down on our border, but some people may say, hey, they're working with the government. That's how that's how these drugs get through.
And it's true.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like, I guess what I'm saying is my hat off to all you military folks out there. My respects, you know, and I just don't agree with what the other calls are being called, you know.
What are your thoughts?
And putting you guys into those situations.
What are your thoughts of South America? Do you think United States should be in South America, like how we have a huge ass base in Honduras? Do you think we should be in South America like that?
You know what, bro? That question in my mind opens up a lot, and the first thing I can come up with, I mean, the first thing that crosses my mind is all these immigrant children coming by themselves, right, to the United States, because of the refuge they're seeking, right? Mm-hmm. Like you said, I think Venezuela in itself is, fuck, dude, it's so bad. Mexico's bad too.
Salvador,
you don't even want to talk
Guatemala.
about MS in Salvador, you know, and all that. I think we look at it and you see Canada's well off, right? They have a good structure. I think they have universal health care.
Yeah, well, they're well off, we could say that, but they're also in deep shit too. Like their own people, their citizens hate Trudeau, which is the Prime Minister of Canada. They fucking hate Trudeau.
He's a young guy too.
He's
huh?
a young, he's a young guy. Yeah,
Like
yeah.
in what 40s, 50s, maybe.
I don't know. He's a good-looking guy too.
Yeah, I think
he's not ugly. He's a good-looking guy, but I think his father is a oil tycoon, so this is why he was able to become
in power.
Yeah, get in power. So, he wanted to drill through sacred lands in Canada that was going through Indian reservations, like their form of Indian reservations, and they blocked it, I believe. So that's good for them. But yeah, he's a motherfucker, bro. I'll tell you right now, he's a motherfucker.
See what I'm saying? So then, to me, it's like, well, you know when they say you can't cover the sun with 4 fingers. I think that's when we're here, right? We're sitting pretty. You look up north and then you look down south. It's all fucked, bro.
Yes.
And then in here, it's fucked too, in the sense of like.
Good thing we're not bombing them though.
Yeah. But I think because it's that strategic. Man, this camera is just going off, bro. I'm gonna put on you real quick. But I think it's or I'm gonna go wide view and I'll fix it later. But I think it's a strategic placement of where the United States is, right? That they don't want to have those bad relationships, and then that's good. But and then you know what, bro? Let me segue into something else. Going back to the U.S. citizenship. You know the federal building is off Alameda in downtown, and dude, I remember maybe when I went to go get my green card. I'm talking about 10+ years ago. You want to see one tent, one homeless tent. Now, everywhere, bro. They are everywhere, and it's sad, bro. In a sense of, we had this conversation, I believe, last podcast or the podcast before about mental health, and I don't think they take mental health serious. It sucks, bro. I mean, you see a lot of young people. I was seeing this YouTube video of a dad that was homeless with his like 10-year-old son.
Oh my god.
Down the streets in LA, bro, and you're like, fuck, dude, like,
Fuck.
what is going on, bro? You know what I'm saying? Like,
This is what's going
how
on.
How do we not fix what's going on here? And another thing too, you know, all those kids that are crossing over, and I believe they can get full immunity. I don't know. I'm not too sure on that. But then you have a lot of good undocumented people that live here, that pay their taxes, that have clean records, they contribute to the United States, that haven't got a chance to receive a green card or something like that. And then you get somebody say, hey, well, these people are coming over and they're getting full immunity. What's going on with that? I think that's Biden by doing that, bro. And I'm an immigrant, bro, so I'm saying I don't think that was the right call for him to do that. You know what I'm saying? It was an open invitation. And now you have the mayor of Texas all pissed off because now they have to deal with it, you know? What do you think about that?
Well, I was going to ask you, what do you think about the children in cages down in the border? I mean, it started with Obama. Anybody who thinks that it started with Trump, you're a fucking dumbass.
Yeah, no, that was pre.
Yeah, if you think it was Trump because you just hate Trump, you don't know dick.
Yeah.
Do your fucking research. It started with Obama. Now, of course, they've always housed immigrants in the border, but now they're separating the children and their families, and they have a valid, I guess their valid excuse for housing children and splitting them from their families is because they're saying that the coyotes are the ones who are bringing in. When I mean coyotes is a smuggler who brings in children or criminals to bring in children to use that as their defense so they could cross the border. Oh, I have a child, let me pass, but that guy is actually a murderer, right? Or drug cartel personnel. What are your thoughts on that?
I honestly, bro, to me, the humanitarian in me feels it sucks, bro. You know, I can't imagine me being a 5-year-old kid stuck in a cage. You don't know where your parents are. If you have parents, I have stories. Some kids come over with their uncle sending money to Coyote just to get them over here. You know, but can you imagine that you're 5 years old, you're stuck in this cage. All you know is these little kids running around you. You don't speak the native language, so now you have these guys walking in green uniform, just looking at you, telling you when to eat. You know what I'm saying? But then, what do you do, bro? What can you do? Do you put them through the system? Do you set them up for adoption? Do you automatically make them residents, U.S. citizens? You know what I'm saying? Like, how do you carry that burden? How do you
What would you do in that situation?
If
you were the president of the United States?
If I was the president, first and foremost, I'd be like, look, let's do something to help. If we're in other countries across, you know, in the East, Middle East, helping out over there, why don't we do that here, right? Let's see what's going on with these countries. Why are these kids coming over? Get to the root of the problem, right? Instead of
you're saying like have like a program. Like I see a lot of programs where I work where they bring in people from certain like Ethiopia or other African countries, and they come to the United States, they work here, they have a visa or whatever, and then they go back. But they'll be here for some time, or they'll stay here as residents.
Yeah, I guess something like that, bro. But then I guess it would trace back to. Well, okay, so here's a question: do you think immigration will ever stop?
Never.
Right. So it will never stop. Why? Because you're always gonna get people that aren't happy where they're from, thus being from genocide, being from corruption, the inflation of their currency, and poverty, whatever it is. People are not gonna, and they're not happy, so they migrate. Which I believe that's United States was created by immigrants. The Native Americans were here, then Great Britons came here, then the Spaniards came up came up south from Mexico, and then you had the French. So this whole nation was built on immigrants, right? And I think that's what's beauty about it. But how do you fix not having kids at the border, right? In cages? Fuck, that's a tough question, bro. Like, what do you do? What do you do that's right, and what do you do that's, I guess in a sense, is I'm gonna do something that's right that's not gonna look right. You know what I'm saying? But I don't know, bro. I mean, what the fuck can you do?
What I would do if I had
I didn't even answer the question, but go
if
for
I had
it.
the magic wand, Rigo's asking me if I had the magic wand. I'm just kidding. I would.
If you had that yelling power, what's your name?
Janet Yellen.
Yeah, if you had her power, what would you do? That type of power.
I would set up a school program to have them come in and give them visas to come in to the school program for 6 months. I mean, of course, if you could do it for 6 months, why not 1 year? If you could do it for a year, why not just keep them here forever, right? But if we were to kind of phase in these immigrants from the South into United States, I would start with the schooling program, housing them in. Of course, it's going to be a taxpayer dollar thing. But
that's what pisses a lot of people off.
Yeah, but it's a myth now. Now, when we look at the U.S. national debt and we see how much we're printing and we're giving the IMF $1 trillion in SDRs, in my opinion, that's just bullshit that we are saying, oh, well, it's going to cost taxpayer dollars so much money because we can't afford to keep these fucking people in cages. Bullshit, we can't. We could easily do it. We could easily have these children come in through a school system where of course, they're going to get indoctrinated, right? You want to come to our country illegally? Well, we're going to show you how we want to keep you or indoctrinate you. And then there forward, they could, do their thing, whether it's, learning a trade or whatever. But that's going to cost us money. Now, that gets into a much bigger debate on why don't we do that for the people here, the homelessness that we have in Los Angeles. Why aren't we doing that for them? But yeah, I think it's just, I think the crisis in the border is exposing our hypocrisy.
That's a good word.
Because that's what we're destroying South America by putting our foot in their throat. And then they bring their people here asking for jobs, and we say, no, go back and find a job out there. Go back to Mexico and try to live your life out there. I mean, it's hypocrisy, bro. We're hypocrites as a country. Sad to say that, but it's true. And we're printing the fuck out of the dollar. So it's like, why can't we just print a program for them and have them be indoctrinated in? And then when they're in the system and they're working here, whether it's the minimum wage, federal minimum wage, then we tax them to pay for that same program. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it would be like a self-sustaining system then.
Exactly. I mean, that's just an opinion. An idea.
Yeah, no, that's actually a great idea, bro, if you think about it. And I would agree with a program like that. And then people would be like, oh, so where do you get, or how do we pay all these employees? I mean, then you would go into, what about internships, right? I mean, some people go to school for medical and they do internships and they work for free in hospitals. You can have the same thing. Hey, you want to be a social worker? Dedicate one year to this program. You know what I'm saying? Like, it'd be an intern for you. You deal with kids. You're a psychologist, a social worker, whatever, right? You get them to do it, I guess not for free, but it would be an internship, right? And then you can set up a school for somebody to teach these kids. I guess that would, I get what you're saying on that system. And yeah, bro, it's tough, man. It is tough. You hear these stories of remember those caravans that were crossing through Mexico? And
oh my God, dude.
You remember that, bro?
Hey, they were walking really fast because literally, like, they started from Guatemala, and then you blink your eye, and it's like 2 days later, and they're in the south of the border, and they're still walking.
Bro.
I'm like, what the fuck? They're in Mexico already? Guatemala's like not even next to Nayarit yet. You know what I mean?
And then you would hear these stories that like, oh, Mexicans treated us bad. Well, in a sense too, like
you're going into their country.
Yeah, so you technically are an illegal immigrant in their country too, right? And what do you do with that? You have 14,000 people show up at the border, and then if you don't house them, then you're causing a more, now you're holding up different things. It's tough, bro. It really is, man. I don't know what would need to happen. I don't know what. It's crazy, bro.
Well, yeah, and it all started with our footprint back when General Smedley Butler, I think he wrote the book War's Racket, and there's I saw a few documentaries about it, and he talked about how he went to South America for U.S. corporations to pretty much take the resources, and now we have a footprint, and we've had a footprint in their country since like the 40s or even the 30s. While U.S. was asleep in the United States, the U.S. citizens didn't even know what was really going on. But he came out with the book War's Racket, and there's a few documentaries on that on the internet, which I recommend you kind of look up. But yeah, we've been destabilizing South America for a long fucking time, and now the chickens have come home to roost, saying, hey, you owe us, allow us in your country, and we're not allowing them. I mean, I'm grateful that my mom, came to the U.S. as an immigrant, and I was born here as a citizen. I'm grateful for you that you became a citizen, because it's a beautiful blessing. You know what I mean? It's something that most people take for granted. And if you know how to use the system, or not even use the system, but if you know how to use your citizenship and take advantage of it, you could be successful. You could be something. And some people, that leads into another conversation, right? Oh, well, how you grew up in poverty. You got dealt a bad card of hands. That's all bullshit to me when people say that, when people talk about how, he grew up in the hood and it was all drug infested and criminality. That's all bullshit. At a young age, because we grew up in it. I grew up in it. I grew up in the fucking ghetto. I grew up poor. I grew up like this and that, right? I don't want to, go into that. But if you look at the kids growing up in Mexico, kids growing up in Africa, they're not happy, but they're fucking working their ass off to not be dirt poor, and they're already born in the dirt. They don't want to be dirt poor now. So you look at the U.S. citizens, children in the U.S. system that are just in a really worse situation I wouldn't even say a worse situation. They're in a much better situation than those who grow up not being a U.S. citizen. It's just crazy. That's another topic. I mean, I'm not even mentally capable of.
We're not meant to prepare for that conversation.
Yeah, that's a deeper conversation. It's only because, to me, it's just I don't know how to explain it. It's something that because I grew up, like I said, and all that, and I hear people saying, "Oh, well, we need to take care of the inner cities and this and that." Look, you can, but you're not going to fix a problem when inflation is taken into effect, when the U.S. dollar is losing currencies, losing its purchasing power, and you're priced out. I mean, how are you going to fix it? You're only going to dig these children into a deeper hole when you print more U.S. dollars, when you keep doing all these things. You know what I mean? It's not going to work. So all this talk of like, give a $15 minimum wage. Oh, well, what's that going to do? It's just going to raise prices. So now you're going to price out those who want to work for less just because they want to have a foot in the door. But then now, the people who run these businesses can't afford to pay it, because they have to pay higher prices. Yeah. We needed to allow prices to fall, but that is what they don't want to talk about. This is what scares government. When deflation happens, government has to cut back, and then we lose all these programs. They don't want that to happen. They rather inflate, cause a Venezuela effect or a Zimbabwe effect before they allow shit to deflate. That's what's going to happen. So, but yeah,
It's tough, B. It's a tough fucking choice, right?
Yeah, it is. But what would you do to fix this if you have another magic wand?
If I had a magic wand, bro, to
How
fix
would you
this,
fix this? Would you allow prices to fall and cut government spending, or would you not?
well, yeah, because I mean, the government, bro. I mean,
Because again, sorry, but you are, no, you a citizen.
yeah.
So how do you see it from that lens?
So the truth, bro. I think it's you got to cut the head off the snake, right? So how do you do that? Well, it would be a shift into I know this is so drastic, bro, for me to say this, bro, but like a revolution, right? I mean, that's the only thing that what I would see is all the people in the United States are finally fed up with it. All the people open their mind. Hey, I got my magic wand. Everybody open their mind. See it is for what it is. And realize, hey, you guys are fucking us. This isn't no more like, don't be a conspiracy. No, it is proven, bro. You have it right here. You have it right there, bro. It is proven. We are $28 trillion in debt. It's not made up. Nobody's throwing those numbers. It's there, bro. Right? They're signing 18-year-olds to thousands of dollars in debt when they go to school, bro, and then they feel freely to do so. So that's only adding to the problem, right?
Yeah.
So then what happens, bro? All the people wake up and then they overthrow the government, but then what happens then? What would be the right government? Just don't because see, money controls everything, right? Money is the root of the problem. So then get rid of a inflationary monetary system, right? Get rid of it, right? So put in place, if you don't believe in currencies, put in place a dollar that's not, hey, you have so much of it, never get printed out, and just manage it well, right? But then how do you do that, bro?
Yeah,
how do you erase these $28 trillion? You can't. If you do, bro, you're gonna piss off a lot of people, because China has their piece of the pie, right? And then all these people that have a piece of the pie, because that 28 trillion is owed to somebody.
Of course.
Correct? So then what? You can't just get up and be like, you know what, guys, I don't have the money. Let me file for bankruptcy. I mean, can the government file for bankruptcy? You know what I'm saying? So then what happens then, bro? Like, you're going to piss off a lot of fucking people. It's not like you can just wipe those 28 trillion and be like, hey, we're going to start with $1 trillion. And everybody's going to get their share and we're going to make this thing grow. It's not like you can do that. So it's either, the only thing I see, it's either the economy crashes, shit hits the fan, there'll be a big ass revolution. You're gonna see people walking in with wheelbarrows of hundreds and 20s to go buy a piece of toilet paper. What happens then, bro?
Good question.
And that's not to be drastic. I think that's gonna happen. I mean, if this doesn't get fixed, and it's easy for me to say that, but how do you fix it?
Yeah, you don't. I don't think you don't. I think you have to say, you have to let happen what you just said. Allow the economy to crash. Because that's how you learn, you let shit hit the fan, the economy crashes, prices fall, and now if you were saving, congratulations. You could use your money to buy the goods that are now cheap and they are at bargain sales. If you don't allow that to happen, then prices will continue to go up. Housing prices will continue to go up. The minimum wage will be at $15, but it's not going to buy you a house. Housing price is going to be double where it is today.
Yeah.
Bro, so what do you do now?
Did you hear that somebody listed their house? Somebody listed their house like on a Tuesday, and then it was sold on a Thursday for 15% more of what they were asking.
Yeah.
Like, come on, bro. Like, I get it. People want, because of the interest rates, people want to get their house, but we're only feeding into this bubble, bro. They're only making shit worse. It's affordable housing in the United States. What, maybe 15 states? Midwest? I mean, Washington, shot. Oregon, shot. California, let's not even say. Texas, affordable. Why? They don't have state income taxes, so maybe that correlates to it, right?
They have property tax, but yeah, you're right.
Yeah, so maybe people get tend to that, right?
And it's policy too. Sorry, but it's also policy. I mean, the reason why California real estate is so expensive too, you might think it should be cheaper, but look at the rules that we have in place for evicting tenants. You can't. That's why people want to move here, because if you don't make your mortgage payment, it takes a long time to get you kicked out of evicted, especially if you're renting. So I think policy, if we cut back the policy and we take those restrictions away, or not restrictions, but those safety nets away, housing prices will fall. But that, I mean, that sounds evil too, you know. Think about it. I mean, the way I said it, I feel like I have, like, you know, fucking
You're Lucifer.
yeah, like I'm Lucifer, you know. It sounds fucked up, but it's just, you would think, oh, I want government, oh, I want government, oh, I want government to save me and to take care of me and to make my life whole and for me to have a better lifestyle. Government take care of me. But then they start taxing you more, and then you give a little bit of your freedom every time you want government. A little bit more freedom, a little bit more freedom. And if you fall into that mindset, then you have a defeated mindset. You have a mindset where you can't think for yourself, and then you start contradicting yourself when the government starts to go fuck up other people across the world. But you want government to take care of you. Well, government needs to go fuck up other people around the world too. That's what they want to do. They want to be bullies, and they want to pretend to take care of you, but they're just taxing you. Oh, but they could just print the money. Oh, well, then we're gonna have a Weimar Germany or a Zimbabwe or a Venezuela, which is where I think we're headed. You know, Weimar Germany. The reason why there was a hyperinflation was because the Reichsbank in Weimar diluted their currency. Their I forget. I think they have the mark, and they just printed the fuck out of it, and which is why there was a hyperinflation in Weimar, and Hitler came to power, and then they had World War II. So World War II could have been prevented if the central bank was part of the government, but because they were an independent central bank, the Reichsbank, they were able to print the fuck out of the dollar. The people that was closest to the dollar got rich fast, which was a Cantillon effect. And then when the dollars trickled down to the working class, they were super poor because they got the hyperinflated dollars, and they weren't able to buy what the people closest to the power, to the dollar or to their currency were. What, you know, and that's what's happening right now. Those closest to the dollar are getting rich. Same scenario like we had in Weimar Germany with the Reichsbank. Same scenario. Federal Reserve is an independent central bank. They're printing dollars. Now you have Janet Yellen, who was the president of the Federal Reserve. Now she's the Secretary of Treasury. It's a fox in the hen's house, and they're going to dilute the shit out of the dollar, and we're going to have another Cantillon effect, another hyperinflation, and we could see maybe another war. I don't want that shit to happen, but look what we're doing. We're bombing fucking countries. We shouldn't even be doing. We should be fixing us. We should be not bombing them and just figure out a way to fix us first. But we're not. So
yeah, bro. I totally agree with that, man. And it's scary in a sense, bro. I mean, obviously, there's ways to make money, right? We're here to tell people how to put your money in crypto, put your money in gold, silver, because the dollar's gonna go down. But I think what's scary is the fact that it's going on right now. It's not like bro, maybe in 50 years it's gonna happen. No, we're living it, bro. This is today. This is our kids' generation. Like these old fucks, bro, give them another 20 years, they're all gone. They don't give a fuck. They're gonna fuck up the economy. They're gonna make sure their kids are good. They're gonna make sure that their closest people is good and fuck us, right? And that's what's scary, bro, because shit hits the fan, and then you're gonna have people going against each other when the real problem is the big man at the top.
100%.
So I mean, what can we do, bro? Just hope they get their heads out of their ass and have more people like your boy Kennedy calling people out, you know?
Oh, I mean, to me, yeah, even that, like, of course, I love what he said to Janet Yellen and what he was, you know, if you saw that hearing, the Senate committee hearing, then you would have seen the whole, you know, thing going on, right? But in my opinion, they're all just as dirty. You know what I mean?
they're all weasels.
Yes, I mean,
but I guess it feels good when they call each other out like
when
that.
they flash a light on the ugly, rotten, you know, corruption that's going on, giving fucking other countries U.S. taxpayer dollars, and claiming it's a wash. Like, what the fuck? You steal from the U.S. taxpayer, give to the other countries, have them pay you back in interest, and it's not costly. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? You know, I work for this shit, bitch.
Nah, and it's true, bro. And you know, I was gonna ask you one more thing, bro. I know we're kind of gone in for a while, but what do you think on because Biden said he was gonna want to run for president. He's gonna be 80 years old, bro.
Biden or Trump?
No, Biden too. Biden, I think.
For another.
Didn't he say he's gonna run for 2024?
Biden?
Yeah.
I don't think he's gonna be around for.
Well, that's
this
what I'm
term.
saying, bro. That's what I'm saying. Like,
When did he say this?
I think he came out last time, and I was hearing something that he said that. I know
Donald
Trump.
Trump,
I know
yeah.
Trump he's gonna want to, but if Biden does run, bro, dude's gonna be 80 years old, bro.
Yeah, I don't think so.
I mean, he's what 76 right now. If that's he's gonna be 80 then. I mean, it's fucked up to say, but people at 80 years old are getting put in, in senior housing, and it's fucked up, bro. But why is it normalized to have these older? I kind of like, even though I didn't agree with everything Obama did, I kind of like having that like 40 to 50-year-old that still has the right mindset, bro. Sometimes you hear Biden speak, you don't even know what the fuck he's talking about.
Yeah.
He's over here talking about, do you ever see that union worker call him out?
Oh, hell yeah.
So, and then he's like, well, he got all mad. Like, nah, bro, like,
Yeah.
you need somebody in there that's mentally, and I get it, the president has his cabinet that advises him, but.
Well, we all know that Biden got, he got rigged into the presidency. They rigged the primary, the Democratic primary. He was already losing. Everybody knew that Bernie was going to be the one going against Trump, and they didn't want that to happen. They didn't. Yeah, they did not want that to happen. But Bernie, from the beginning of that primary, he was campaigning to be reelected as a senator. He wasn't really revolutionizing the people, although it sounded like it was, and all these people showed up and everything.
He got a lot of younger crowds. I think he had a lot of the younger, because he was spitting free college for everybody. Wasn't he doing that? He was
he was just putting the carrot in front of the tortoise,
to get the little tortoise to come out of the woods.
Yeah, and it was all a huge ass show. I mean, it had some leg to it too. There were some people that I followed that I find entertaining, that were making sense of what Biden that Bernie Sanders was making sense of what he wanted to do. Like, he wanted to impose the tax on the stock market, a small 1 penny tax for every transaction, and he was going to use that money to pay for universal basic income or universal healthcare, which makes sense when you put it that way, right? It's not just say, hey, we're going to give you this. No, he actually had a plan on what he wanted to do, and which opened a lot of people's eyes. And I mean, he was supposed to be the one winning, but we had a huge corruption going on with the DNC, Tom Perez being the president of the DNC, and then you had also Barack Obama. A lot of people speculated or said that Barack Obama was pulling the strings, telling people when to pull out of the primary so that Joe Biden gets the majority of the votes, so people have nowhere else to go. And there was a lot of talks about the systems they were using to calculate the votes, how they were rigging those systems, those computer systems, so that Biden will get, if you voted for Biden, he gets 2 votes. If you vote for Bernie Sanders, he gets half a vote. And so it would take 2 votes to make 1 full vote for Bernie. Yeah. I mean, there was so much shit going on that most people weren't even paying attention to. They were just looking at the TV to see the debates. But at the end, Bernie Sanders was saying, well, Joe Biden's my friend. Joe Biden's this. Joe Biden's a friend of mine. And I was like, you motherfucker, bro. What the fuck are you doing?
Yeah.
And what's crazy, too, Kamala Harris lost the primary.
Yeah.
And then she becomes vice president.
She becomes vice president.
Think about that shit, bro. I mean, it was rigged from the beginning. Everybody knows this. You know this. I know this. Yeah, everybody. But we're still trying to keep faith in the system because we love America.
Yeah.
We don't want America to crumble. We want the administration to do good things, but when he comes out within his first 100 days and he bombs Syria, it's like, what the fuck are you? We want you to do good. You rigged the fucking system for you.
And it's covered by a stimulus package and vaccinations. And what about that little bombing? You don't hear that being talked about.
He's trying to be the next FDR, but it's not even close. He's not even close. And, it's fascinating how fucked up this shit is.
It's wild, B.
But
it is wild.
I think we said enough.
Yeah, I think we bobbled down for a lot. I think we talked about some good things.
We'll talk about the growing up in America as poor kids.
Yeah.
And give our perspectives, because some people might say, oh, give them everything, give them free healthcare, give them no. You sometimes growing up poor gives you an advantage of hard work, because if you grow up with everything and you're given everything, you become a brat, you become spoiled, and you don't know how to work for what you got. You lose motivation. And when you grow up poor, I'm not saying I advise people to grow up poor, no, but if you grow up with the struggle, you you understand how to value things. You know,
Yeah.
you understand how to see life in a different perspective and work and cherish every dollar you earn. So we'll talk about that next time.
Hell yeah, bro. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about your perspective, my perspective, and what we see, and then what kind of values we will implement to our kids.
Exactly.
Right? Because our goal is, hey, we'll give them everything. No, let's take a step back. Let's give them what they need and teach them what they didn't have, and teach them what others don't have. I think that would be a good conversation. But it's a good topic, bro.
Rigo, congratulations again.
Appreciate
and,
it. Thank you
we'll
for my
see you guys soon.
$250,000 in debt.
Woo,
I'll make sure to pay
baby.
that off my whole life.
There's your house payment right there, bro.
Right. Hey, you guys have a good one.
All right, peace.